Satnam. Satnam Sukmani. Teresa, Satnam. Adarsh, hello. Hello. Yeah, Sat Kirtan, you do the welcome because it's 7 o'clock and we are recording.
Yes, I will welcome everyone. I close the. Oh, everyone can just come in if they're coming in later. So we are so happy and blessed and to have this challenge and have these masterclasses on Sunday evening to dive deeper into the meaning and every time from a different perspective of the Japji, of the Shalok, which is our all camp mantra. And yeah, today we're going to, again, from a total different perspective, we're going to dive into the beautiful celestial communication techniques. And I met Ardash last year, and it's really a blessing to have you here as you are so embodied with this. And I felt like when you do the celestial and it has the meaning of the words, it's so much easier to connect to the words and to the meaning of the Shalok in this case. So we will, everyone is welcome. This is not just it's a masterclass, but it's also, we call it oh, I see something happening, but take my attention. But it's like vichar, so everyone's questions and everyone's experiences, they contribute to what we bring here together. So please feel no one is higher, no one is lower. We all have our own personal experience, which is very, very beautiful, and everyone can learn from each other. So this is how I would like to open this space. I will do the we're gonna do some movements, and let's do Ang Namo Gurudev Namo together, right? And then I give the word and the floor more to Pritam Dharma and Ardash. If you want to mute yourself, feel free. If you want to keep your mic open, it's okay. But let's bring our hands together, center ourselves, and be here. Connect to your breath. Feel your body and focus. Focus on yourself, on your needs. Listen to your body. I feel grateful for all the things that you can be grateful for. And now inhale to start with Ang Namo Gurudev Namo to open the space. Om Namo Gurudev Namo. Atguru Namah, Jagat Guru Namah, Sat Guru Namah, Sri Guru Deva Namah, Adguru Namah, Jagat Guru Namah, Sat Guru Namah, Sri Guru Deva Namah, Adguru Namah, Jagat Guru Namah, Sat Guru Namah, Sri Guru Deva Namah. Inhale. Press your hands together, focus the eyes on the third eye point. Set your intention and just have a beautiful session all together. Sat Nam.
Sat Nam. Thank you, Sat Kirtan. Thank you for introducing, opening the space. And thank you, Adarsh from LA. I'm so happy to see you again, and also so happy to be together with also the other women who joined last year our course here in IJsden. Because and that's important for now. So I welcome all participants, of course, and I also welcome the ones who will view this later, because our channel is looked upon later, because not everyone is able to join at this moment. So also welcome to them. But last year, in September, we had a beautiful course with Adarsh here in Holland. Which inspired us, of course, to make, and as Teresa and I, to make for this All Camp mantra, the celestial communication. And therefore, I feel goosebumps when I'm going to say this. I was so much inspired by what we learned, and now we could spread it so much wider. And so I just feel so very grateful for, you can learn things by yourself, but someone who is a guide in a kind of unknown field is so, and you are so experienced, and you have so much experience with, you should tell it yourself, of course. But well, that's of course, to me, it was an important start to welcome you here, and to feel also where the connection is with the, of course there's always a connection, but now specific with our All Camp mantra and the celestial communication we added to this.
Yes, I'm having a lot of happy memories too of meeting in Netherlands and Belgium and having all those experiences. It does feel a stronger connection, even to those of you who I haven't met in person yet. I feel like a stronger connection to this part of the world now, your community. So I'm really happy and delighted to be here. Yeah.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course, we had already 4 masterclasses before this one. And each masterclass, in a way, we asked our guest teacher or our guest to tell something about your. So I want to ask you something about, apart from your own introduction, maybe you want to say something about yourself, but also about your experience with Japji and maybe specific Shalok. But that's up to you if you have something to tell about it. So I'm just curious. I know, because we spent some time last year that we talked about Japji before, but I'm just curious to hear maybe how did you get to know Japji, and then later you developed in doing making celestial communication for specific Pauris. Just go ahead. I'm just curious to know everything.
Sure. Okay. Well, I think it's good. I think talking about Japji will interweave with my history. I don't need to say this is who I am. I think it's going to all kind of fold in together. So I moved to the Espanola ashram in 2000. I had been practicing Kundalini yoga for a little while before, but when I was there, that's when I learned Japji. So because it was part of our morning practice of sadhana, it was before, but I didn't learn it. It felt like a lot. But when I was in Espanola, there were just a lot of teachers, as you said, actually guides. There were just so many people to teach it and to learn it. And there were a lot of us who were new moving there, who all I think we practiced sometimes every night together. I know that I learned it a lot through the Pauris, like through taking one piece at a time, not, yes, we would kind of recite it the whole way through, but I would focus on one at a time, and maybe one that I really felt I needed. And I had these Japji cards, actually. I think they still exist.
Yes,
Yeah.
I have them also.
So I even picked a card, I would kind of find the one that resonated for the meaning and the the benefits of it. And I would just learn that one. And I don't even know if I did exactly 40 days, but I would just focus on one for a while, and then and then go to another one and really go kind of deep. And then eventually kind of all these beads of the mala kind of threaded together to know Japji. And yeah, it was really, really a huge part of my practice then to take that time to learn it. I mean, it really was a major focus, I'd say, those first years. And but it's interesting, I never did Shalok as a 40. I mean, maybe I did back really early on. I'm not remembering. I think it's fascinating you're doing that, because that's not the one I always first think of to do now. Of course, so much Mool Mantra. In fact, in 2020, when we went into these lockdowns, it was very hard for so many of us, but I was having a real struggle with it. And in addition to doing a lot of breath work, to help with the fear and isolation feeling, I felt a little lost in who I was. And I would do Mool Mantra as a 108 repetition a day, and it was so powerful. I really was wow, to do 108, it doesn't take that long, to do it actually, but it just gave me such a reminder of who I am. That was my last really big experience, I'd say, was in 2020 doing this 108 Mala Japji. And just Mool Mantra. I know people do 108 Japjis actually, but I have not done that. That's next. But that alone was so incredibly powerful for me. And then over the years, I have taken Pauris to create celestial communication with, to embody it, as you all said. I really enjoyed doing that, and it gave me such a deeper meaning with it. I don't even know if I remember all of the ones I've created, but the ones that are still present with me are Asanka Nav, I love. Of course, Mool Mantra, Ekamai.
Yes, I remember.
That's been a really powerful one for me. Akanajor. And I did back in 2002, there was a big Japji course in Española. And it was the first one, at least in the United States, that was this, all these teachers came, people traveled from everywhere. There were hundreds of people there. And there were 3 women and we created a celestial communication to the 4 Sunniyas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So we took actually Madhamunder Singh's beautiful music. I know he was here.
Yeah.
And we just took that section of the Japji that he recorded, just the Sunniyas, and did a loop, with it. And we created that was amazing. And I actually do not have a recording of that one. And I just remember little bits of it because it was 20 years ago. But yes, it was really, that was kind of for me. I think I, of course, had done Mool Mantra, celestial communication, but for me, that was really an awakening point of wow, bringing the Pauris to life in celestial communication. And it was also early-ish in my development, of creating them. So it really was oh, wow, what can happen when we put this all together, and even creating it together and then sharing it. And I know even at that time, there was this spark of, wow, wouldn't it be amazing to create celestial communications for every Pauri of Japji?
Yes.
But I never have done that. Maybe it's not meant to be done by one person. Maybe it would be amazing to have a collective do that, for example. But yeah, that was a highlight for me of finding this expression of Japji in the movements. Yeah.
Yeah, I can really feel it. Also, when we were doing Shalok, and this whole day in Paris when we made our video, Sat Kirtan was there, and yeah, it went deeper and deeper and deeper because we had to
Yes.
this repetition all the time. And maybe you know that from when you're making a video.
Yes.
I think 8 times 11 minutes or so. I the whole night. Shalok.
Yeah, I'm also so happy when I do see other people creating them. I do feel like very, I love to see the creativity continue as it is. And I love the video, just by the way. I thought it was so fun and beautiful and creative. I just loved it. I think for me, it's like this creative expression. You know, we have these really sacred sounds that are, to me, Japji so balancing. You know, it really gives this. I know. I think on your message, I heard maybe Madam Singh spoke about this, like where Mool mantra is the 8th chakra and the ether element, and then the shlok becomes the 1st chakra and the earth element. But each Pauri is going, you know, through the chakras and elements. And I mean, that's just what I learned. But what I feel is the balance in it. And I was just on a little journey, and it's funny, I was thinking about Japji and even just the scriptures in general, the Sikh scriptures, because I went to the Grand Canyon, which you've probably heard, but in the United States, I had never been. It's this magnificent place where you can see over hundreds of millions of years how it was formed. And I just felt that real vastness of creation there. And to me, that's expressed in Japji and other scriptures, like this, oh, wow, like we are part of something so enormous that's, you know, almost, I mean, it is unfathomable, but like for me, seeing the Grand Canyon gave me this slice of it, like, of that, like how big creation is, how I'm a speck of dust in it. It feels very humble, but it also feels like amazing. Like I brought a little show and tell, actually, because I got this ammonite fossil, you know, when I was there. And these are about, I mean, it could be as young as 65 million years that these creatures lived in these shells. And then it's like fossilized, you know, through these from over a long time with different, you know, minerals. And I also felt like in this, like the kind of the immortality. So I usually think of like everything changes, you know, everything's temporal. And I feel like that is such a spiritual teaching. But then I felt like, no, but there's also this imprint of everything that's ever existed also still here. And like we are also creating an imprint of everything that's ever existed. I don't know. I mean, I feel like Japji to me even touches on that, and like Shalok, like with the air and the water and the earth. I don't know, that's what I feel. I feel it's actually very like nature oriented, if we can look at it that way. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Beautiful. And yeah, so you tell something about that experiencing Japji is also about kind of infinity, immortality, the part of the, you know, the whole part of the whole, and in nature we can feel this the same. That's exactly what you said. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, and all the Pauris you made with Celestial, yeah, because every mantra you make with, are you making a Celestial with a mantra? You give deeper meaning to the mantra, or you just experience the mantra deeper and better when doing Celestial, and I think it's the same with Japji. Or is it something? Is there still something else, or is there?
It does feel a little bit different, actually. I haven't like broken that down or articulated that distinction. Maybe because it's a part of, like if we take a Pauri, it still is a part of this whole that I feel like I'm connecting into, even though I'm only doing one Pauri. It doesn't feel like it's just that one mantra or that one, little piece. It does feel connected to something bigger, and it feels a bit more intricate. It feels, I noticed this with Shabads a little bit as well, like just it feeling, I don't know, it's more poetic for sure.
Yeah.
Gosh, this is really a good question. I apologize. I can't quite, it's like something I want to really contemplate. Like what really is the difference between, and probably for me, it would be like the difference between like possibly just any Shabad or Japji, or maybe there's even a distinction there. And a mantra that is maybe more simple. It feels like, not all mantras that I'm working with are just the seed sounds. They could be a little bit longer ones, but they do feel a little more like just like energy bites. I really might have to think about this. I would even come back to this group and write something. It feels like they're more like these energy points or something in a mantra, and in something like the Shalok, it feels, it does feel different, but I don't know how to say it. It does feel a little bit different.
Is it also because it's more, there's more story in it, or more, well, sometimes mantras or songs do have the same, like I know Akal from Ajit, and you have a beautiful celestial communication on that, and that also is a bit a story, or Mangala Saj is also a bit story.
Yeah.
But I felt while making the celestial communication with Shalok, it was more telling the story. So it was, to me, it was more connected, like with the what they have in the Hawaiian hula. So they're telling the story of the seas and the kings and the queens of Polynesian islands. And I felt a bit the same while making this celestial for Shalok. But it's more because it was a whole story to tell.
Yes, I think that's a good way to put it. It's the story and the poetry, and when I think of Japji, it is the song of the soul, and it's always been musical. It's always was put to music, and I know mantras often are too, but mantras also could be more Shakti, more rhythm and less melody, more like moving it in the chakras. It is a bit different. Whereas with Japji, it like it says, the story, it's poetry, it's meant to be musical. Like it's designed to be musical. It's written as in music. Yes, I do. And I love, one time I heard this described celestial communication as being able to express the story of the soul also.
Yeah.
And I love that. I do feel that it's like a story that it's with words, but it's also kind of beyond words in a way, or not beyond words, but more like a universal language. I think it makes it a universal language, but you're coming from the story and the poetry, and
it's something to explore more. Or
it is. I know you really asked the best questions. I remember this meeting you also asking very good questions.
Thank you. Yeah. Would you? I was just interested if you could tell us a bit more about celestial communication, because I'm I know some participants here at this moment live here and know a bit more about celestials, but there are also people watching who know less. So maybe you can, from your point of view, from your perspective, can you tell us a bit more?
Yes, I'd love to. And I welcome any other questions or comments also on experience in this. So at its kind of the basic level, I would say it's, experiencing the sound, taking the sound, and through listening to it and feeling it, like this real sunye, which is of course in Japji, this feeling it, expressing from there. The movement comes from really a deep listening or a whole body listening. So I find I often am creating them from a song, a mantra, whatever it might be, that I've listened to so many times, and I've even chanted so many times, and then it will like emerge from that. Although sometimes it comes right away, but it feels like however it arrives, however quickly or slowly, it's from a listening process. And it is creative and intuitive. So it is done like sitting or standing, but with the focus on the heart center, expansion through the arms, this expansion of the heart, and moving through the upper chakras and the aura. But within that, there's really not so many like rules. It's really about your own connection, or the person who's creating it connection that then shares it, and everyone does it together. But through that connection with the sound current itself. And one way also to think about it is a form of kirtan. So kirtan meaning like that you're singing and playing an instrument, that your whole body's involved, even like if you're playing a guitar or a drum or a piano, you're really like creating the sound through your body, through your voice, but also like in another way. And it creates that embodiment experience. And with celestial communication, the other instrument is your body, is your arms are like another voice or another instrument, a stringed instrument, any kind of instrument it might be. And so like in the category of like sound current practices, I think of recitations, I think of the Shakti practices, or even like Sat Kriya, or like the Langa Konkars, where we're vibrating at the different chakras and using the sound this way. Or I think of like Bhakti chanting, where we're, with the melody and letting that flow. And then Kirtan, it's also less internal. It's also more expressing. It comes from inside. The vibration is inside, but then it is sometimes with eyes open, or with looking at each other, or it has that interactive element. Also, we can do it alone, of course, and I love to do it alone as well. But like, it's also fun to do it with others for the interaction, and even in nature as well. I always loved practicing in nature. And I feel this response also from the elements, from the trees, from the birds. Like it feels like a form of communication that is in harmony with nature to me. Yeah. And I get that from my early days. I started this in 1999, actually, is when I began. And one of the things I heard was, you can do celestial communication by, of course, by yourself, with others, mirroring each other, or you can sit with a tree. So, I was super hippie, my super hippie self at 21. I was just sitting with every tree. I was just really, but then just wherever I am, it feels nice. Like it feels like a way to even, connect with nature, but and kind of in this way where it's a language. Again, I just feel, because I live in Los Angeles now. So on the beach, for example, and I feel like people are just very like relaxed around it too, but also any little animals or whatever's there, kind of like almost sometimes feels like they're communicating back, I mean, that's actually what it feels like to me. So it's a very like energetic language, an energetic language, universal language. Emotions also can be expressed through it. This feels different for me than some other meditation forms where like emotions are really like welcome to be felt and expressed, and then they kind of transform into what they need to be because the sound current is so transformative and the energy just gets moving. So I love that about it. It feels like it's very healing for that reason. Yeah. I mean, there's I can go on forever about this, so just feel free to
interrupt. Yeah,
I think
it's lovely it's lovely to listen, and it's beautiful how you come back to nature. Like that's why you started in the beginning of this hour. So and now you come back to it, that it's this communication with the outside world, which is and we are nature ourselves. Also,
yes, maybe it just reminds me of that too. And I know I just went on an intensive like nature vacation, so I know I'm like extra attuned to that. I will share one more piece on that actually. Have you heard of vortexes, like this vortex? So I was in Sedona on this trip, which is like, there's vortexes all over the world, but, they're very concentrated there. And they're actually, I found out the correct name is geomagnetic anomaly. But I know we all know them as vortexes. But if you walk into them, and I just got to re-experience this, it's like there is a shift in vibration. It's very uplifting and relaxing. I went with my parents who are not yogis, but they loved it. They felt it. And the trees sometimes grow in a spiral. Like there is a really different energy in that space, and a little tingling in the fingers. And it's actually, I mean, I don't want to say it's the same, but it does remind me of the feeling of doing a celestial communication in my body for a long time. Like you said, like the 8 times through, like when I do them, like not a particular amount of time, but let's say like more like 30 minutes or more on that like range, that I will feel that same like tingling sensation, like the vibration really in my body. Sometimes it happens much quicker, but I definitely feel it then. And it is like, I think feeling like creating our own energetic field through the mantra, or in this case, the Japji, through the sound current and the movement. I do feel like we create a different energetic flow in our body. I know when I would do the bigger festivals, teach there, that's what everyone would say. Like, let's say we had like 200 people at a time or more, and they would say it feels like this whole space became a vortex. And that is what I didn't come up with it. Other people kept telling me that. And then I was like, oh, you're kind of right. So, and I love that, like that it's like, because we are nature. Thank you for saying that too, Pritam Dharma. I think that I think that's really powerful to realize we can also create in ourselves and with each other, like this vibration that we want to move in, and, then we go into the world and we can carry that wherever we go. We can do that with all the other practices we do as well, I feel, but I feel it really strongly when I do celestial communication. I just feel very clearly like, oh, I'm carrying this with me, everywhere I go. Yeah. Probably Lama Concar's, I felt that too, actually. But whatever kind of sound current that gets really in the body, whichever way it happens. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can say that's the sound current, but that still this celestial communications make the sound current even more effective or more whatever, more just bigger or intenser or I don't know exactly the word, but it has a much more impact if you add celestial to it.
Yes, and I think quicker, like one thing that I've studied some like childhood development, and I'm trying to understand also how movement affects, us from being a child and music. One thing I've heard a lot is when like a child is learning something, I'm trying to remember the statistic. It might be 7 times faster that they learn it if they learn it through play. Yeah. There's some like high number, it's a good amount faster. And I feel social communication to me feels like play in a way. It's like, so I do feel it's like tapping into something else that, quicker or more, it sticks more maybe, or, because of the play element. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Well, is it an invitation to play now? Music is play. What they say is so Mahadev's music. Yeah. We have this Mahadev especially made the Shalok version for the festival, and and his music is also very playful. It's maybe a bit, how do you call that? Maybe not old-fashioned or conventional. It's maybe a bit new, and it is more pop or more. He also calls it something like spirit pop, I think. Or I have written or I read something about that, but it makes it also available for much more people, I guess. So the sound, But I'm not sure. But did you have a plan to share something with us, a Pauri from Japji, with the celestial, or is it, or do you have to?
I know I didn't have any plan, and I kept wondering. I was like, do they want me to share? But then I didn't. Anything, but we could certainly, I feel like a Sangat would be really fun to do. It's also this very, it's this older version by the Guru Dasas. But really, it's really fun and like play. I don't know, it feels in the spirit of everything we're talking about today. So I think it would be nice to do that one. Yes.
Yes, you are now the co-host, so you can add the music.
Wonderful. So glad I have these like memorized in my body. Yeah. And that's one thing I'll say that people always ask me, and I forget them all the time if I only do them a few times, like I'll remember them, and then like if I don't record it or something, a year later I'm like, oh, I don't know. But when I've done one enough, when I've really repeated it, and done the jop, I will, like this one I probably created in, let me think for just a moment. It's probably like 2007. And I just remember it because I did it so many times. So anyway, so they get in there. Okay, let me just pull up the music for us. And okay, and let me just also show you the movements as well. So
Pauri 19, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. And then, this one really to me expresses that vastness of the universe. And, it talks about like the worlds upon worlds, like more than we can fathom. It definitely opens up that space. And there's just so many places more than, I'm doing the movements. It reminds me of what the body is. Yes, so I'll talk through the meaning a little bit when I show the movements. Not reading from a translation, but just my own like memory and experience. But yeah, it's about this vastness, and it brings wisdom. It's a mantra of a lot of humility, or a puri of a lot of humility in it. And that, but that in that humility also that we gain the wisdom, the spiritual wisdom. Okay, so I'll just walk through the movements. I'm going to move back so you can see me well. And great. Okay. So we're going to mirror each other. So I'll lift my right arm to start. You can lift your left. And we're going to bring out a diagonal here, a diagonal here, and then bring both together like they're making a big oval above your head. And then we're going to sway, and this feels very playful to me. We're going to lead with the wrist and sway to one side, and then the other side, and then circle all the way around, and this side. Then we'll reach the other way, and then a big circle around. Let me back there. So this beginning, it's like asankanav, asankatav, agama, agama, sankaloa. And this is talking about all the universes, all the places. And we come up here. And then you're going to drop your hands down so your palms press down and out. And then they press out and up. And then, let me see, so we go. And then you're going to bring your hands to Gyan Mudra, first finger and thumb touch. And you bring your fingers towards each other and then come out. So they'll press down and out, and down and up, and then hands and fingers in Gyan Mudra, and bring the hands down and up and out. And then we're going to, I have to kind of sing it. I did not prepare, clearly. I had to kind of sing it in my head as we go. And then you crisscross coming down slowly. This is also describing that your destiny is written on your forehead. That's the way that your life comes to be, is through this destiny written on the forehead. And then we're going to bring the hands to the side and lift up big from the wrist again and down. And then we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go down and up. And 1, 2, 3. This also feels really playful to me. I feel like it's a bird flying. So again, it's up and down, and then 1, 2, 3, and then down and up. And 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to reach forward while the arms go back and around to the front. And then you bring the fingertips towards your body and you circle up and around. And then you bring the arms behind you again as you're forward and come around. And then bring the hands down, up and out. And this is that last part that's really expressing the humility to the divine, and that it's only through you, through this divine, that good is done. It's this really honoring, humble, and the divine. And then we end by bringing the arms back up into the V, and then the palms together into the heart. And this is you, the eternal and formless one, coming back to that reverence of the one. So I think we got all the parts. Asankanav, Asankatav, and Agam, Sankaloa. We do our big sways. And then we'll come down and out, and down, and then out and up. And bring the hands in together. And we'll do that one more time. Down and out, and then out and up. Hands in Gyan Mudra. Coming out together. And this slow coming down through the destiny written on the forehead. Here. And then we'll do our big flying wings. This is again talking about the vastness of the universe. And also in this Pauri is describing how all poetry, all mantras, all writings, everything comes from the original sound current. So I think that's also really beautiful, to understand it's all coming from this like original sound of the one, and then it gets like expressed in all these ways, like Japji. Like it's like that's all connected back to this one original sound. Okay, there. And then I didn't do this part. There's also one more part like this, where we bring the hands above the head and over the heart. I knew I was missing a part. That reminded me. So you're going to, it's kind of a twist of the wrist like this, like a moving of the wrist. And then we bring the hands together in lotus and to the heart, down and up, here and here. And then we go. This is the last part, is our humbly bowing and giving reverence. Okay, so you're going to follow along. You, of course, don't need to know it well. We will jump in.
May I ask one question, please?
Yes, go ahead.
There is one, to me, very mystical sentence. I cannot once be a sacrifice to you.
Yes.
And it speaks to me, but somehow I don't get it, or it feels like I don't want to get it. Which movements is
it's this one here where you're reaching from the back and around and here. Yeah, I know if I get too heady about it, I also feel a little like, what does that mean? Like I can't do anything, but in a way we can't. I mean, like when we realize like we're this speck of dust, it's like it's a very bhakti Pauri, and some things we do are more realizing like our own strength. And I'd say in this one is kind of realizing like in a way that we're not powerful, like that there's nothing we can do in the sense of this, 3 billion something years that Earth has existed. And but the wisdom at the end is like, or the blessing of this Pauri is that when we become that humble, we actually gain the wisdom. I don't remember how it's worded, but this Pauri, but maybe one of you have it, where you have what each Pauri, what its benefit is. And this one, it is something like actually gaining the spiritual wisdom. So
it says brings universal knowledge, inspiration, and revelation.
Thank you. Yes. So it's like saying we are so humble, so without power, it gives us the answers in a way, so I mean, it actually does. I mean, that is the concept of bhakti, or the energy of bhakti. Does that help at all? I hope so. Yeah, I think it really is feeling to me that just that speck of dust, so small, but also that small being a part of all, like also realizing like also as Sat Kirtan said in the beginning, that no one's higher or lower, or, the only one that like doesn't make mistakes, or the only one that is above, would be the one, and all of the rest of us were in it together, the Ammonites and the plants and the humans, and all of us are in it together. So I will be curious what your experience of it is when we do as a practice. So the very beginning, there is a long little bit of music at the start. And what I would like you to do for that is to bring your hands to prayer pose at the heart, and to breathe and to start to feel the music even before the movements begin. tuning in with your breath and just noticing the sensations in your body and how you are feeling with it all.
Asangana asankata agam agam asankaloa asankakahe sirvar hohe akrina akrisala akrigiyana getagunga akrilekan bolanban Akrasir sanjovekan Jinlikatis sirnahe Jiva formae teva teva pahe Jeta kita teta now Vinna vinahi kota Kudrat kavana kaha vichar Varyana java ekava जो तुदा बावे साई बालिका तू सदा सलामत निरंकार असंकना असंकता agam agam asankaloa asankakahe sirvar hohe Akrina, Akrisala, Akrigiyana Getagunga, Akrilekan Bolanban, Akrasir Sanjoveka, Jinalekatis Sirnahe, Jiva Formae Teva Teva Pahe, Jeta Kita Teta Now. Vinna vinahi kota Kudrat kavana kaha vichar Varyana java ekava Jo tuda bhave sai balika Tu sada salamat nirangar Asankana asankata Agam agam asankaloa asankakahe sirvar hohe Akrina akrisala akrigiyana getagunga akrilekan bolanba akrasir sanjovekan Jinlekatis sirnahe Jiva formae teva teva pahe kavana kaha vichar varin javaye kavan Jatura bhave sai balikar Tu sada salamat nirantar Asangana asangata Adama adama sangaloha asangata he Sirvar kohe Akrina akrisalla Akriyana kita gungga Akrilekan bolambang Akrasir sanjobeka Jinaleketis sirnahe Jiva furmae tiva tiva pahe Kita kita titana Vinna vinna hikota Kudrate kavana kaha vichar Varyana javaye kavan Jatura bhave sai balikar Tu sada salamat nirantar Asangkana asangkata Agam agam asangaloha asangkata he Sirvar kohe Akrina akrisalla Akriyana geta gunda Akrilekan bolamba Akrasir sanjobekan Jinalekatis sirnahe Jiva furmae tiva tiva pahe Kita kita tetana Vinna vinna hikotau Kudrate kavana kaha vichar Varim javaye kavan Jatura bhave sai balikar Tu sada salamat nirantar
Bring your hands together in prayer pose. Deeply inhale. Feel the vibration within you. Exhale. Deeply inhale. Feel the vastness of this universe, even beyond our comprehension. Exhale. Deeply inhale. You feel all the energy moving through you. Feel the vibration in your arms and hands and through the space, through your aura. Exhale. One more time, deep inhale. Exhale and relax your hands and breath. Sit in stillness, feeling the vibration, noticing your sensations. And inhale. Exhale. Satnam.
Satnam. Thank you so much. I would like to make a kind of small circle to to hear something back from everyone. It's so nice to share experience with this beautiful Pauri and Celestial. To me, myself, I felt so much vastness and so much expansion of whatever from the heart. It was so huge, and I felt also so much playfulness in it. Really, I was so touched by happiness. By happiness. Yeah. But I would really like to, well, maybe there's a question or just a reaction or just an experience. Shall I start with, I have next to me in the screen, Koen. Koen, would you like to share something? You have to unmute yourself if you want to say something.
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for taking us apart and with you in this experience. For me, the most important thing was the feeling of devotion that came along with doing this. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for that. All right. That's all what I can say for now. Yeah. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can say something. Hello, Adarsh. This Pauri that you chose, it reminded me of the balm. I think the Japji is a lot of times for me like a balm for the soul, maybe we could say. In moments I feel like shattered by something, then sometimes the only thing to go to is the Japji. And this Pauri really embodies that for me. So thank you. And also what I take from today is your explanation somehow illuminated for me the communication part of the celestial communication. That it stand out for me now more clearly. And it also reminds me a little bit about breath walk, when you also do movement and then at the end meditation, and you can feel completely connected with nature and calm and healed. So thank you.
So Adarsh, thank you so much. Lovely to meet you again online. This morning with a group of 5 people, we discussed the exam for level 2 authentic relationships. Now, this is a matter of already available knowledge in me, in the others, what is written in the book and study guide, the lectures of Yogi Bhajan, and discussing that. Is it this? Is it that? Is that? It's a multiple choice. 50 questions. I remember the exam before of mind and meditation with 25 questions, so I was a little bit taken aback. And this afternoon, I've been just relaxing and getting away from that. And thanks to this session, I now, and also the Asanka Nav, I feel connected to each other now, yet also connected to what happened this morning, and yeah, maybe to the authenticity of the celestial communications. Yeah. Satnam.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you. It was beautiful. Also, what you said, it reminded of me being at the Grand Canyon or even in the desert when you are like this little, you're not even this piece of sand and you think, I'm this big and I have to do all this, and you feel all this weight on your shoulder. And then when you're there, you're like, wow, there's this big, great union. And I was 2 days, I was at the workshop of Abraham Hicks, and the message is all you need to do is follow your joy. Sometimes we can make things so big and we can dive deep into the things and we feel so like, and again, I felt this joy, this whole collective of joy, and I was like, yeah, the celestials, they bring joy. And it's like, I also know that Yogi Bhajan taught this to children, and I think children are our big teachers. And why do we teach it to children? Because it's fun. So let's bring in more fun. And yeah, it felt like, this also, you're talking about vortexes, and she's always talking about, your vortex. And we're just, it was really like everything resonated and felt into place. And I feel like, yeah, the festival also brings that joy. And sometimes when you, like us, when we organize it, it feels sometimes a little bit like, okay. And now I really felt this joy again. And yeah, so I'm really grateful. And yeah, it's great.
I'm so glad to hear that. And yeah, I always think joy also, or feel joy, is like at the forefront of this. And I'm glad you expressed that so well. Yeah.
Yeah, because also when we made the video, we made it with love. We had lots and lots and lots of fun, and we really we had this discussion. When can we do it? Oh, I can do this weekend. Okay, let's see. And then everything just fell in place. So the Celestial was created in like 3 days. And even like this bowing, we added on the day itself, when we felt like, about Nanak, you just put your hands down and put your head down. So it was really like we created it all together, and every piece came together. And the more you do it, you feel more and more how it really speaks to you. And I think that celestials, and everyone can create a celestial that fits with you. Don't feel like oh, I have to wait. No, just feel, create, and enjoy. And that's what I wanted to add.
I love that. I really felt the joy in the video come through. It's like, I feel like when they get videoed, it can be like this like impression of the experience, and then it transmits. And even though we're a speck of sand, even though we're that, I do feel like we can also do a lot with this speck of sand that we are, and that we can all carry these vibrations with us, and that we are creating like a different flow of energy. Because even in nature, we see that, where it's just that, like, it's carved, some of the Grand Canyon is carved by just like this river going through it. And so the river kind of looks small. Yeah, small compared to the big canyon, actually, but it's very impactful. So it's like, we're so small in a good way, in a healthy way, but also just continuing a vibration and sharing joy and get, experiencing it and then letting that overflow, I feel like does really have a big impact on the world ultimately,
It just reminds me, if we are steady as a rock, what can a rock do? It can change the whole flow of the river. So it really helps, just be that rock, and you can change the whole how the things work. So yeah, if I think about that, it's easier to stick to your practice and stick to the things that really matter to you, and just be steady as a rock. The rock doesn't worry about everything around it. It's just this rock, steady, and yeah, it's been molded, and the water changes it as well. But yeah, I just see this in front of. I have this very clear picture of it right now. Oh, thank you. I know Livjot is also there. She's not with video, but Livjot, maybe you can just open your mic and share your experience. Or not, if you're not there.
No, I'm there. Just the camera was not. Hi, Satanam, everyone. Yeah, because my camera, something went wrong or with bad internet. So I thought, let's go without camera. But I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I love dancing also and expressing Japji. I think for me, if I can say one word, for me, it was creativity. Like, wow, like infinite creativity or something, or like endlessly creativity. It was very, very nice. And I loved the movements, and it was very, very nice. Yeah, very touched by the explanations also. And it's a long time I did some Kundalini yoga now, and it's the first time I joined. And when you start, when you're off-road a bit, and the first thing what's in my mind is I have to start Japji again, because it's the most powerful thing even before exercising. I think just reading or repetition of one Pauri can be so powerful. And yeah, so you gave me again the little push in the back to start doing the Japji. And even with some creative movements. So thank you very much. I enjoyed this evening. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, and you can watch the other masterclasses also for those who are watching this one and don't know how to find the other one. We have a playlist, and you can watch all the weekly sessions we have, because on Wednesday we do the Celestial together with one of the three of us, and on Sundays we have a masterclass like this, and it's all in one playlist, so you can watch all the videos. So
super, very nice, very nice. So Satnam, and see you soon then.
Yeah, next weekend, right? Or
okay.
no, not, yeah, 2 weekends to go.
2 weekends together.
Yeah. We don't hear you, Pritam Dharma, if you want
Yes,
to.
I was saying yes, 2 weeks to go to the festival. Yes, then we're in the midst of it. Okay, well.
Maybe I want to hear from Adarsh what she's, you gave something, but maybe you also want to share your experience.
Yes. Oh gosh. I mean, I'm really happy. Like, I'm really happy to reconnect, because I had this beautiful experience in Europe last year, and I hope to come again in 2024. I haven't even looked at it, but in my mind, I'm like, I think I could make it by then, and not this year, but and also I hadn't done a Sankanav in a very long time. I mean, I don't remember when. That's why I was a little clunky with the explanation. I was like having to kind of, when I hear the music, it's automatic for me. Like the movements come automatically because I've done it so many times, but to think about the movement separate from hearing the music. So that was, I guess, an interesting part about my experience. I was like, oh yes, I have to like hum it or like sing it to like remember the movements. So So I don't know, that's just an interesting part of celestial communication for me also. But yeah, when the music hits, it's like just, it's all there. I feel so good doing that one. There is a special, an enduring quality of that one for me over the years. I feel also this real appreciation when I was doing it for the music. And I feel this so often for all the artists who create the music, because that really inspires me. And it really does change the movements for me. Like I have many versions of Guru Ram Das, depending on the artists and the particular song. So I felt that in this music too. It's like just the beauty of the music, the creativity in the music. It feels just like, yeah, there's the musical expression and then the movement expression that like develops out of that, and just a lot of creativity and fun. And I heard that in y'all's experience of the Shalok as well, that, you know, and I do think that's fun about our Kundalini yoga and our community, actually, that there is so much musical creativity and now maybe more movement creativity as well in it. So it was just really fun. I love seeing everyone doing it.
If I like to challenge people, and when you said, you know, maybe we should find different people to do all the Pauris, I would think that would be such a wonderful project for you, you know? You have maybe many students and just do it. It's
a nice idea.
Yeah.
Well, we already did the end.
Yeah, the end is there, you know, and just I think
We as your students did already
out
the end.
there, you know, I want to have this 40. I want to have celestial communication on every Pauri, you know, see what, you know, sometimes creativity is already there, but if you send out, you know, we need a point, and then people feel like, oh, I want to do that.
Yes, I love that. And I think it clicked for me just being with you all today when I was speaking it, that it wasn't for me to do alone. It was interesting. Like I could do it. I mean, it's not like, but I felt it would be more fun to do it together, like in a collective.
Yeah, and when you said that, I felt like I need to really make that a point, and you know, not just something, but yeah, I would love to see it happen, and I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, and I do feel like with my experience today, even with the Sankat Nav, and just something I generally feel is this, the relationship does grow so deeply with the Pauri or with the mantra whenever I create a celestial communication. It's like with the Sankat Nav, I know, like, even though it wasn't as, I had to kind of remember it, it's like, I know it in a way that I don't know other things because of that creation. And I would love, everyone to have that experience and be able to teach on the one they really went deep with, you know?
Yes, because I remember for a few years ago for the European Festival, many teachers were asked to do a meditation with one of the Pauris. So 40 different teachers from the Sangat were doing one Pauri. So, you know, and then together you have 40 days and you have every day another one. So it's possible to do this.
Yes, it definitely.
It was really fun. And
I suggest we go on with this in a special meeting. I saw Sukumani was already leaving because she had to go. I'm also looking at the time. So maybe we can close. Sat Kirtan, do you like to close with Satnam? You also started?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Thank you very much, Adarsh, and thank you also Koen, Teresa, and Liv Jolt, and Sat Kirtan, of course, being here with us.
And thank you for your beautiful questions and your beautiful presence, both all of you and the ones who are watching it later. All right. Let's just simply do 3 times Satnam and feel the blessing and the joy and bring that with us. Keep it with us as long as it takes. Inhale. Exhale. And inhale to start. Satnam. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thank you, bless you, and see you.